The Hunger Games series died a pretty quiet death back in 2015 after the release of Mockingjay Part 2. The movie was released to moderate reviews and the franchise wasn't really heard from again until 2017, where Lionsgate decided they wanted to venture into spin-offs. Suzanne Collins clearly saw that her royalty checks were getting lower and lower and decided she wanted another cash boost, so got to work on a new book which was released in 2020. Very convenient that the time between the book release and now is just about the time you need to make a movie. I, like many others, saw the announcement of a movie adaptation to a book that I had no idea had come out, which was a prequel to a series that I'd kind of forgotten about. I saw who was cast in the movie and thought, bloody hell, here we go again. But no, this is actually a pretty good film. I'd definitely put it above the two Mockingjay movies. The movie begins with bright teen Coriolanus Snow, who has been assigned the female tribute from District 12, Lucy Gray Bard, to mentor for the 10th annual Hunger Games with the promise of a big cash prize, should his tribute do well and put on a good show to aid his family who has fallen on hard times after the war. After developing a soft spot for Lucy Gray, Snow treats the system to help her win the games and allow her to go home after her victory. Snow is quickly found out and sentenced to work 20 years as a peacekeeping grunt before he's allowed to return to the capital. A romance blooms between the two as he struggles to maintain his devotion to both her and his family, and he slowly begins to go insane and ruthless. The world of Songbirds and Snakes is dark and grungy. It's a great place to explore. A world just off the cusp of a war that devastated both the districts and the capital itself. This is not the same world as the original Hunger Games movies. It's dirtier and not as advanced. Seeing the more, for lack of a better word, primitive technology used makes for a more interesting environment. There are no flashy guns or hyperspeed trains. This is a world that feels like it's only a few years in the future, using a combination of both retro and future tech. Snow is played to brilliance by Tom Blythe. He gives off the air of a man who could charm you as easily as kill you, and it's great to see. He isn't the same sadistic President Snow we see in the Hunger Games, but he's well on his way. They make a point that this man is devoted to helping those closest to him and will tear down anyone who gets in his way, and seeing his shift from bright to brutal is fascinating to watch. I've made my opinions on Rachel Zegler clear in the past, and I think I speak for many when I say I think she's an insufferable bitch. But even I can recognise a good performance when I see one. The character of Lucy Gray is very well written. You sympathise with her, you understand her choices, her thought processes, you're warmed to her nature, and she's got a decent set of pipes. Let me tell you, the girl can sing. The rest of the cast gives solid performances to help you believe what you're seeing on screen. Shout out to Viola Davis, who really hams it up as the mad and sadistic scientist. The film itself looks great. It's shot very well, and any CGI used blends fantastically into the live action around it. Can't really say the same for the Marvels last week. One scene in particular really stood out, which was a brilliantly choreographed long cut at the start of the games, zooming from Zegler's character to all the carnage happening around her and back to her as she moves through the arena. The soundtrack is another thing to praise. A combination of beautiful score and songs sung by Zegler makes for a fantastic list of tunes, and it was a joy hearing it all the way through the film. Her rendition of The Hanging Tree puts Jennifer Lawrence to shame. This isn't, however, a truly glowing review. There is something I would like to address. The movie feels a bit bloated and rushed, with so many things happening in this runtime. The movie is split into 3 separate chapters, which is kind of odd considering it feels as though there is a potential story for 2 movies that's been crammed into one script. There are plot points and character motivation switches that happen without much or any setup, and the film feels as though it's rushing to get to the payoffs without having fully earned them. I feel that if this were 2 movies, they could have taken more time to explore the story and the characters a bit more, and it would have been much more satisfactory. And it's a shame, because the beats that they hit are actually really good. With the stigma surrounding Zegler for her attitude towards established and beloved characters, I don't know how well this film's going to do. With a budget of $100 million, there is a chance that it will probably turn a profit, but I don't know how bad Zegler's not so bright attention will harm the movie. I've seen 1-star reviews online already, boycotting the movie, and Zegler in particular, for her comments made about the Snow White remake and during the actors' strikes. I don't think that's fair. There are plenty of people who worked very hard on this movie, and while she may be an entitled bitch who doesn't know how good she has it, she hasn't exactly touched any kids or killed anyone. But this is one of those times where I will hold up my hands and say I was wrong. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is a well-written, brilliantly shot, beautifully scored, fantastically acted movie. A movie that held my attention for its 2-hour runtime, oh so better than the Marvels could do in 90 minutes. A movie that explores the breakdown of the human psyche through the eyes of a boy just trying to do right by his family to a man on his way to becoming a ruthless and sadistic dictator. I've seen a few movies this year, and the last time I enjoyed what I went to watch was Across the Spider-Verse. In June. I actually really enjoyed this movie. Hand me some humble pie, I will eat it here on camera. Oh, thanks. Good.
Is it you? Is it me?